All right, beautiful people. Welcome back to another amazing and impactful episode of the True Health Forever podcast, where we try to live our best life through the lens of holistic health. I'm your host, Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. It has been a very action-packed, blessed, and full of love month and week. So the queen will not be joining us, but y'all got me, and we're gonna get into some marketing stuff a little bit on. But y'all know how we usually do. Let's start off with a little bit of a weekly recap. So first off, shout out to Black Love, shout out to Christiane DeAndre, our friends who just got married last week. Much love, and it was a privilege and honor to be a part of the ceremony as a groomsman, and then the queen as the matron of honor. Not the matron of honor, but a bride's matron. I don't know the exact wordings. y'all know the wordings when you're married, but you're a bridesmaid. It's called a different thing. Anyway, that's what we were doing last week. Very beautiful ceremony, nice view, and shout out to the taco bar at the end. But other things that have happened. 2 weeks ago, I think we brought up the concept of, right, it was like inertia, or like basically as you get closer and closer to your goals, right? And this can be whatever you're setting up for, like a business, you're writing a book, you're doing a podcast, you're making a movie, whatever it is that you're working on. As you get closer and closer to that goal, for some reason, right? And there's a great book on it. I believe it's called the Labor of Art. Like, it gets harder and harder to achieve that goal. So that's something that I think, me and the queen are both kind of seeing, but also, I'll speak for myself since the queen's not here this time. I've definitely felt that a little bit this week, specifically today, on like the closer and closer it seems like I'm getting into a particular goal. And for me, it's more so on making, Play Black Wall Street, the best brand and the best income generating asset we can have as a company. The barriers that start to come up. Now, what you have to do is, and I'd talk myself through this one, so hopefully I'm able to get this message out to anyone else who may be feeling something similar, help you talk through what I went through. You have to realize, again, in your hero journey, right, you as Batman, as Spider-Man, as Superman, you need to think that these quote-unquote bad things that are happening are signs that you are on the right path. They're signs that you're getting closer and closer to the very goal that you've been working, months, years, decades towards. So you want to just push through as best as possible. There's a really good, I think, meme that I've seen where there's someone, hammering through, and they're digging, they're hammering through, and then there's a picture of one person who was probably like one hammer away, right? Like one more swing, and they would have broke through the entire tunnel, but they stopped one swing shy. So for you out there, my amazing entrepreneurs, creative folks, filmmakers, moms, dads, parents, lovers, all out there, like, please keep on fighting past the barriers that are coming, because that means you are getting closer and closer to your goal. All right, ready to do a podcast? All right, let's do a podcast, y'all. So today we are talking about 5 lessons in marketing that we have learned over the years. This will be across a few different brands. I'll try to give as many like specific examples as possible, but it's kind of motivated from this book right here. All right, the 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. Definitely suggest you get it. I think we've gone over this a few times on the podcast. Great book, very short and digestible. And whether you're just starting off with your business or you're in the game for some years and you're trying to take your business to the next level, this is a great book to read. Yes, it says laws, right? But it's not like strict laws where you need to be doing these things, but it's a great way of approaching marketing, and it can really help you think. All right. Lastly, before I say the patented cued word, I almost forgot. I got a drone for my birthday. Shout out to the queen. Much love. Thanks, baby. But she got me this beautiful little Tello DJI drone, getting me, it's a starter drone, getting into it. But I have some drone footage from over the weekend that we were just kind of playing around with it. And yeah, it's fun stuff. So y'all may see some more drone footage to come, and we may invest in a TH4 True Forever drone to be able to get even better footage as well. Y'all know Daniel. Daniel's been coaching me. All right, you know what? Let's jump into it. Let's get into the episode. So, second off, we're going to start the episode, but we hit the whoa in our entrance, and honestly, I only hit the whoa, I feel like, in this podcast, so it was good to be able to do it in public, and it still looked good. All right, but let's hop into the 5 lessons that we have learned over the years for entrepreneurship in general, business, and marketing. So, our first lesson is an interesting story. So as y'all know, True Health Forever, we started in 2016, and our goal is to help improve the holistic health of the African diaspora in America. We have 4 pillars of health: social, physical, spiritual, and economic health. Now, it just so happened that the first product that we created was focusing on economic health. And this product, under what we thought was going to be the True Health Forever umbrella, was Black Wall Street, the board game. Now, although people love the product, right? And I say love because, they still continuously show us love. Shout out to everyone who's purchased it during Black History Month. Keep it on, keep on. We appreciate you. But initially, the concept of having a health company sell a Black history board game did not match up for our customers, right? It made sense in our heads because we knew our 10-year, 30-year, 50-year vision of what TH4 is going to do, and Black Wall Street is a key part in what TH4 is trying to do. We know that, but the customers haven't necessarily read our 10-page vision, right? Or the customers haven't necessarily always been there when we're going over our vision for the future. So for them, it kind of seemed out of place. There were folks on Instagram that were like, is this a scam? Is this really a health company selling a board game? There were some customers who bought the game, but on the credit card swiping, right, it said on like the invoice or on their credit card statement, it said True Health Forever. And they were like, I didn't buy any supplements. So some customers actually requested a refund, and we tried to fight some refunds. Not all of them we were able to win. So long story short, there was just a little bit of a struggle, an unnecessary struggle, because the expectation of what the customer thought this brand represented didn't match the product that they were wanting to buy. So the law that this matches up with for the 22 immutable laws is the law of perception. Okay, and in the law of perception, very briefly, they talk about how you need to use and not fight the way that customers will perceive your brand and perceive the world. So the lesson that we learned here is definitely do not try to, again, fight what the perception of a health company is and try to change people's definition of what health can look like right up front, right in the first swing. So what we did was we started a new Play Black Wall Street Instagram, completely separate. We created the brand of Play Black Wall Street. We got the Twitter, our own logo, obviously, which is featured on the game, as well as our own playblackwallstreet.com website. So proprietary wise, True Health Forever is still the parent company of Play Black Wall Street, but outside looking in, a new customer will be able to see Play Black Wall Street across everything, their credit card statements, the emails, and it makes perfect sense. Okay, so that was a huge and very expensive lesson that we learned, but we're thankful that we learned it early in the process, and obviously we can now help other people also learn that early in the process. All right, number 2. On the list of 5 lessons we have learned is you want to make sure you either find the lane that you are going to take over, right? Or create an entirely new lane. So for Black Wall Street, the board game, we started off thinking that we were getting into the board game lane, right? So we did what a lot of board games do, and we did a Kickstarter, because when you're starting a board game and you're trying to get a little bit of clout in the system, where you're trying to get some energy among the gaming community, most folks are going to Kickstarter. We know we were asking for interview questions. We were interviewing other game makers, but again, all from the lens of we're building a board game. But that wasn't true. What we were doing was we were building one of the first bleeding edge games built on Black history, right? So yeah, it's a board game, but it's completely different to say we are a Black history board game built on real history, real legacy, and facts that are built into it, right? So again, don't necessarily do what everyone else is doing. Try to figure out how can you find your lane, right? And it can be the board game lane. That can be your lane. Cool. Take that thing over. We believe in you, right? But sometimes you may also want to create a new lane or a new subcategory that's within the lane that you've already established. And this is called the law of category. And I think that the story that they share here is, no disrespect, but they say no one remembers the third person to ever fly, right? No one remembers that. You remember the first people to do something. You remember the Wright brothers being the first to be able to successfully fly. You remember Earhart being the first woman to fly around the world. Did she fly around the world? I think she flew around the world. All right. So you remember the first people to do things, but you don't necessarily remember the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the 18th, right? So for you, if you're in fashion, and shout out to Rare X, but for me, I don't know too many other fashion brands that are doing this, but one of the first fashion brands to be dedicated to supporting foster youth. Like that's their number one thing. 10%, sometimes 20% of proceeds are going towards directly supporting foster youth. So yes, they're a fashion brand, but they're a positive fashion brand supporting foster youth. That's their lane. So for you, in your category, think about ways that you can either completely take over a category that's been established already, which, may be difficult, but I believe in you. Or number 2, sometimes a little bit easier and takes some more creativity, is how can you create a subcategory that now you can promote and you can say, I am the first, or we are the leading company in Black history games, right? And that is what Play Black Wall Street is definitely going to be. We are continue to push the industry forward and be the number one source for Black history board games and gamified education in the world. Let's do it. I'm big and audacious. Let's keep it that way. All right. Number three on the list, and this is something that we've also had to learn the hard way, is y'all got to put advertising into your business plan and strategy. So y'all probably know this story already, right? And but I'll say it again just in case you're new to the podcast. If you are new, we appreciate you. Please like and subscribe on whatever you're listening, or if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate the love and support. But we did our Kickstarter, right, in 2017, and I'm laughing from pain right now because thinking about the process, it's still funny to me and hurtful at the same time. But we did our first Kickstarter, and as y'all know, I'm a fan of, Nipsey Hussle, fan of Kanye West as business folks and as musicians, mostly Nipsey Hussle. Kanye, we have a love-hate, but another one of my virtual mentors when it comes to business is Dame Dash. And I was watching, back in 2017, 2016, watching some videos from Dame Dash, and he was like, if you real, you ain't got to advertise. If you real, you ain't got to market. You know, if your product is good, if your work is good, people are going to find you, they're going to support you, they're going to keep on coming back. So when we were launching the Kickstarter, I was like, Queen, we're real. Dame Dash says we don't got to market. We don't got to advertise. Like, we're real. This is an amazing product. We're positive people doing great things. The energy is just going to come to us. Y'all know that was far from the truth. The Kickstarter did not go according to plan. And yeah, it just didn't work out. But we didn't give up. We put our own money together, put our own money up, started advertising, started doing more focus groups. And y'all know the happy story. We're still selling. We're on our second edition, working on the third, AKA the 2021 edition. Not going to drop what the name is called yet, but it's going to be cool. Working on the next edition of the game. So it's okay to fail. Keep going, push forward. Like we said, keep on hitting and mining through. But long story short, please put advertising into your business plan, your business model, whether it's paid advertising with Instagram and Facebook and Google Ads, like put maybe $100 a month towards those. Or if you have more budget, put $1,000 towards those. What I love about those is it gives you kind of predictable traffic, right? So if you have a certain ebook coming out, you have a board game coming out, you have a film that you want people to see, if you put a certain amount of money into these systems, you will get a certain result. So it's pretty, apples for apples. Whereas doing some of the user generated things like the free giveaways, the post a picture like this, follow this, and we'll give you a free game. Those can sometimes be hit or miss, and you don't know, right? They're unpredictable is a better word. So I would say you want a mix of both, because the paid advertisement is obviously a little bit more expensive, but predictable. Whereas the user generated, the free giveaways, the competitions, the contests, the influencer stuff can be less predictable, but sometimes you get those things that just hit, right? Sometimes whether it's because of what's going on in the world, or you just pick the very perfect influencer a day, then your post or your giveaway can go viral and you never know. So I would say put both the free and the paid options into your business plan. All right. Now let's get into number 4. Let me check the notes to make sure I stay on track. Okay. Y'all know I can ramble. Y'all know I can ramble. So this one's an interesting law. All right, and hopefully you're taking notes. If you're not taking notes, rewind, watch it again, take notes the second time. So this law is the law of opposites. And what it says is, if you are new into an industry, or let's say you're just not number one in the industry, maybe you're not new, but you're not number one, the best way to either try to become number one or solidify yourself as number 2 is to position yourself opposite to the number 1 position in the field, which I don't think this was obvious to me. If this is obvious to you, hey, shout out to you. All right, go ahead, genius. I see you. But for me, this wasn't obvious, because you think, if Jordan does this, if Kobe does this, if the number 1, whoever, if Pepsi, Coca-Cola are doing this, then I should do what they do. That makes sense to me. But apparently in like the business world and the marketing world, and marketing specifically, if Pepsi is already number 1 and another soda company comes and they're saying, hey, we're just like Pepsi, but better, that's not going to take all the loyal customers away from Pepsi, right? I've been drinking Pepsi for 15, 20, 30 years. I'm good with Pepsi, right? So you're not getting any more of their market share, nor are you going to gain new markets that Pepsi doesn't have, right? Because if 20, 30 years down the line, if I don't like Pepsi and you're saying you're just like Pepsi, I now don't want to drink your Coca-Cola either, all right? So what Coca-Cola did was they positioned themselves opposite of Pepsi, right? So Pepsi's kind of more like blue, Coca-Cola, red. Pepsi, or did I get it opposite? Was Coca-Cola first? I think I got it right. We'll check the notes. All right. But Pepsi, old fashioned, original, and Coca-Cola was like, we're the new kids on the block. The new generation. So if you don't want to be, quote unquote, like the old folks, drink this instead. So again, opposite sides of the coin. We're doing something very similar with Potluck Community. All right, Potluck Community, if you don't know, is a growing, developing platform where foodies can get delicious home-cooked meals out in the IE in Riverside, California. But we're not the only player in the home chef or the home kitchen enterprise game. So for us, I think early stages, we were looking at some of the competitors and we were trying to do the same stuff that the competitors were doing. But after reading the 22 Immutable Laws, after having a few meetings with other strategists, we were able to put our heads together and say, okay, this is what they do. This is what they do. What can we do that makes us different, right? What can we add to chefs, to foodies, or to this industry, period, that's unique to us and also very different from what these other companies are doing? And one of the things, not to, give all the secrets, but one of the things that we came up with was, out of all these other businesses, we are the only 100% Black owned and family owned, tech app that's out there. Not tech app, sorry, home chef app that's out there, which is very different from our competitors. And while it may reduce some of the haters that download the app, right? It may reduce some folks. Overwhelmingly, especially with today's, political situation, we should be able to get a good amount of market share, and we should be able to separate ourselves from all of the competition by saying those two things. One, we're 100% Black owned, and two, we are 100% family owned and family run. Between both of those things, it sounds like a pretty good company. I mean, I want to work for it. I do work for it. All right. My title changes every week. You can ask the boss, but I'm a valid customer or a valid employee. All right. So, law of opposites. Find the number one person, brand, company, enterprise that is in the category or the lane that you want to be in, and how can you figure out how can you, sorry for the talk around, but figure out how can you position yourselves opposite from what they're doing. Okay. And, quick disclaimer, obviously these are notes and lessons that, we've learned from the 22 Immutable Laws. But again, I encourage you to read the book. We'll drop our link below. You don't have to listen to the laws the way that we perceive and listen to the laws. If you read this book and you get a different kind of direction from it, perfectly fine. I think that's the dope thing about reading books and learning, is just because we get the same information doesn't mean we're going to consume and apply it the same way. So definitely interested in knowing how you all interpret it. And last but not least, number 5, and I also found this one quite interesting. Do not be afraid to start new brands. Okay, and this comes from the law of extension. The law of extension, according to the book, says that as brands get bigger and successful, they try to do and extend their brand into different things. Going back to soda, I don't even drink soda, but I don't know why I got all these soda examples. Going back to soda, 7-Up. All right, when it was the new kid on the block, it was coming out, it got a lot of love and almost, I think, 5 to 6% market share because it was lemon lime, right? No caffeine, and it was opposite and very different from Coca-Cola and Pepsi. So if you didn't like Coca-Cola, if you didn't like the caffeine, if you didn't like the dark flavor, you now can get this completely different type of soda. 7-Up, right? Great branding. I was a Sprite guy myself personally, but 7-Up's cool. But after 7-Up got good market share, they got sales, they got their success, they then started doing 7-Up cherry flavor, 7-Up cola flavor, 7-Up orange, and they started doing all these other things. And then they actually lost market share and it dropped down to, I believe, like a 3.5%. So they had more items in the market, but for some reason they were selling less than when they just had the one item. So law of extension means if you're known, right? 7-Up is I mean, I didn't even know that 7-Up had all these flavors. When I think of 7-Up, I think of lemon lime flavor. So when people think of your brand, what do they think of? Black Wall Street, the board game, can't come out with a card game and still under Black Wall Street, the board game, all right? Play Black Wall Street possibly can come out with an additional iteration or additional game, but most likely it needs to be based on Black Wall Street, or else it doesn't make sense, right? Play Black Wall Street and we do a game based on Allensworth, which is still Black history, still dope, but it may not make complete sense for our extension of the brand. So that's why I say start a new brand. Don't be afraid to do that. So again, True Health Forever, it didn't make sense for True Health Forever to start making board games because our customers was like, no, that doesn't make sense. So instead we extended, or we kind of separated it. And now we have Play Black Wall Street. It wouldn't have made sense for True Health Forever to start doing home cooked meals in kitchens, right? We could have done TH4 Kitchens, come do that. But again, we learned from our first lesson. So instead of True Health Forever Kitchens, we now have Potluck Community. It's a different brand that now can have its own lane and its own life, right? So for you, highly encourage you to, if you've gotten success as a photographer, but now you want to go into event planning, maybe starting a new brand may be the best way to go, instead of creating or going down the same lane and extending the brand that you've already worked hard towards. And I know it's hard. I know you love the name. I know you got the followers and you're like, I don't want to start from zero all over again. And if that's your prerogative, but based on the law of extension, you're going to have better success long term if you start a new brand. Okay, so those are our 5 lessons that we've learned over the years from marketing. Definitely let us know in the comments, whether you're, again, watching this on YouTube, you can comment below on the video. If you're listening to this on your podcast, you can go to our Anchor website and you can also send us notes, or go ahead and slide into those professional DMs on Instagram, True Health, the number 4 ever, and let us know which lesson in marketing you enjoyed, or which lesson in marketing you have learned and picked up along the way that you would like to share with us as well. We appreciate y'all. First I want to say on that, we definitely appreciate y'all. We see the listens going up. We see y'all sharing on social media. Y'all know it's all love, and we would not be here without you. We're going to keep coming back each week to try to give you as much impactful and amazing information as we can. And I just wanted to, again, shout out you all and say thank you. We love you. So until next time, thank you for tuning in to the True Health Forever podcast, where we try to live our best life through the lens of holistic health. I'm your host, Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. Make sure y'all stay healthy. Make sure y'all stay mentally wealthy. And of course, make sure y'all stay true. Peace.